This is Craft Beer Blab. I'm so happy that you're here. I just want to welcome you and thank you for joining in. If you're watching this on the replay, please subscribe to the channel if you don't mind, as well as like this, give it a thumbs up, and share it out to your friends. Today, I'm super excited. We're going to be doing a live webcast review drinking of Hopslam, Bell's Hopslam Honey Ale. It's actually a double IPA or an Imperial IPA. Imperial IPAs generally are just more alcohol and a lot hoppier than a standard IPA. The hoppiness additions to it is to kind of offset the alcohol addition to it. So, with IPAs, you want a balance of the hops and the alcohol on there. So what I do want to do is invite you guys, if you're watching this live, to go ahead and join the chat here on the side, as well as if you want to join in the room on camera, please let me know and I'll try to set that up. This is actually my first webcast on Google Hangouts, and so I'm not too sure how the controls work. Also, you'll notice that I'm not using earbuds this time. I am doing it free form, and I'm not sure how this will work out, but we'll see how it goes. Again, we're doing Hopslam Bell's Brewing out of Michigan. It's a 10% ABV beer, and according to ratebeer.com, it's got 70 IBU. Now, whether or not that's true, I'm not sure. I couldn't find anything on the can. Let's see if it says anything. I actually didn't look. I don't see anything on the can as far as IBUs, so we just have to take the word of Rate Beer. I'm not sure who put the stats up on that. Maybe it'll have something on. We got the little box here. So what do we got here? Bells, blah, blah, blah. Family-owned and independent-inspired brewing, Comstock, Michigan. 6-pack cans, unpasteurized, best-kept refrigerated, unfiltered, brewed and canned by Bell's Brewing. Bell's Hopslam, I have a history of this beer. It's been great beer. I do love it. It's... I want to say I started drinking this 4 or 5 years ago. When I first started getting into craft beers, this was one of the beers that it was kind of like a whale to me. So it would come out. I didn't know when it would come out. I didn't know the schedules. I didn't know how craft beer industry worked. So it was like, oh, I want to hear about this Hopslam. I want to give it a try. I'm not sure where it's at. I don't know how we get it. How come when I go to the store, I had no idea that there was seasonal releases, there's yearly releases, there's, all the little tricks that the breweries use. And I shouldn't say they're tricks because they're not really tricks. They're, especially for something like Hopslam where they have a ton of hops, they're going into it and they want it kind of fresh. So they're trying to use fresh hops in there, and so they throw it in there. So they can only make it once a year. It's not going to be their everyday kind of beer where they have it on a rotating schedule. It's just not that it's not that easy to make. So they make it once a year. Usually comes out around this time of year, January, February. Sometimes it's a little later in the year. I think last year it was a little later. I just want to say hi to I have a viewer live online. Thank you for joining in. If you want to join in on the chat, go ahead and type something in, and I believe I should see it. And let me know what you think of Hopslam. Anyway, so we're going into, I'd say that was, I don't know how many years ago. I want to say it was about 5 years ago, maybe longer. But since then, I've learned how the industry works, and I've realized that, that beers can come out on a schedule. So they come out. It's usually every February, and I get excited for it because it's one of those beers that there's tons of good IPAs out there, but I really enjoy it. It's just one of those ones that it comes out and I'm like totally stoked to see it. Another beer that I get really excited about is Surly Wet, but they've had years where they haven't put that out. They didn't put one out for 2016, so we'll see if they get one for 2017. We'll see how it goes. They are expanding their brewery again, so hopefully they can get it going. Anyway, if you want to join in, please join in on the chat. If you're watching this on replay, please give a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe to the Craft Beer Blab channel. Also, be on the lookout. There is a Craft Beer Blab blog spot where you can go and get news of upcoming shows, past shows. I'm actually in the process of putting up past Craft Beer Blabs. I believe up on there is the talk that we had with Greg from Untapped, as well as the founder and app developer for this other app called Brew Swap. Hold on, let me check. Chat is wonky. Jonah's on right now. Hey, Jonah, thanks for joining in. I'm not sure how the chat works. I know supposedly directly on YouTube, people are able to chat, but I haven't seen anything come up yet. So we'll see. I do have an invite for you to join in, Jonah, if you want to go ahead and jump on camera. Somehow you should be able to. Again, this is one of those things with the with live streaming, webcasting, is jumping on a new platform and trying to learn the controls as you go along. Other than hitting the button to invite people, I don't know how it works. Anyway, let's jump right into it. I am super excited to give this beer a try. Again, Hopslam, Bell's Brewery. I got I guess it's a stemless wine glass. I love using these for tasting beers. Part of that is that you can get a good aroma out of it. You can actually kind of warm it up a little bit. If it's a little too cold, you can cup it in your hand, get that extra aroma and from the warmth on there. And they're just easy to drink out of. I'm not too much a fan of the stemware. I know that there's a place for them, but I'd rather not have the stem on there because less to break off. Go ahead and crack it open here. And give her a pour. Again, I do like to try to do a fairly aggressive pour. Whoa, without even bringing it up to my nose yet, I can smell the hops on there. Looking at it, it's kind of an orange color, slightly hazy. Of course, that could also be the condensation on the glass, but there is a haze to it. You can see the bubbles coming up. It's kind of a cream colored head on there. About a finger, not too much more than that. Smell on it, get a lot of grapefruit citrus aroma. I get almost like a flowery, and actually almost like a tropical fruit, like a passion fruit. Yeah, passion, grapefruit, flowers. Got a huge nose on there. Don't really smell any honey. I should have looked at last year's blab where we did this also. I don't remember too much what the, I should have wrote it down too. But I'm getting a lot of grapefruit, a lot of passion fruit. Not sure if I get any honey in there, but let's give it a taste. Cheers. Ooh, that is good. Whoa. Very nice. Very nice beer. Okay, so what I'm getting, a lot of citrus again, grapefruit, a little bit of grapefruit rind in there, a little bit of bitterness from that. Less fruit flavor, even though there's a huge amount of tropical fruit aroma to it, that passion fruit that I was talking about. Not so much in the taste. So we're getting a lot of grapefruit rind, a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of kick in there of that grapefruit rind. Not bad. It's not overpowering. There is like a sweetness to it, but there's also a balance to it. I mean, I'm not getting much malt forward flavor to it, but there's something balancing it out. And I'm imagining that that's the honey in the beer. The honey will ferment out. It'll leave behind a little bit of residual flavor, but more it's the fermentable sugars in the honey that will add kind of this mouthfeel to the beer. It kind of, I don't want to say a thick, but it creates a little more body in there. Wow. I am really impressed. I was a little worried. I had heard online and I tried not to read reviews too much, but I did kind of get the general consensus that this was a lot better than last year's. From what I remember of last year's beer, I'll have to agree. It has a lot more character than what I remember of last year's beer. I could be wrong, but I think last year's, it was still great. A lot of hop flavor, a lot of hop aroma, but I think it didn't have the character to it. I think with the grapefruit rind kind of flavor in there, you're really getting a lot of character added to this. Now, according to Bell's Brewing, Hopslam, it's brewed with 6 different hop varieties. Now, I'm not sure what the hop varieties are on there. Let me go ahead and do a screen share here of the window that I have with Hopslam. So this is directly on Bell's website. So 6 different hop varieties added to the brew kettle, and then a massive dry hopping addition of Simcoe. And Simcoe, probably one of my favorite hops out there. I think that's where you get a lot of that grapefruit rind flavor. And then directly on their thing, their description, selected specifically because of the aromatic qualities, Pacific Northwest varieties contribute to a pungent blend of grapefruit, stone fruit, and floral notes. Generous malt, bill, and solid dollop of honey provide just enough body to keep the balance in check. So kind of what I had already mentioned, the honey adds a lot of body to it. There's a balance there with it. Floral notes, grapefruit. I'm not sure what stone fruit is, but I guess what we were talking about earlier, they do say alcohol ABV is 10%. Best enjoyed as fresh as possible. Shelf life is 6 months. So if you do have it in your fridge 6 months later, it should still be okay, especially because they can it. It's not bottled. Yeah, Jonah, I'm sorry. The chat's not working, I guess. That really stinks, but I am glad that you could join in, at least view this live. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate anyone else online watching, as well as watching on the replays. I want to thank you so much for joining in. So these beers, they can be bought 12-ounce cans or on draft at your local bar. Probably available more on draft than in cans. They do run out very quickly. Let's go back to live view here. So again, if anyone else is here that's live online and wants to join in, please let me know and I'll try to invite you in. Also, you can join in on the group chat on the side. Jonah did mention that chat was acting a little wonky. I'm not sure if that's because I'm not sure if he's on Google Hangouts or if he's on YouTube. I do feel bad that you're not able to join in, but I do appreciate that you are online and make the effort. Let me go ahead and type in a hello. So I was able to type myself in the group chat, hello. We'll see how it goes. So if you've been a fan of Craft Beer Blab in the past, you know that I have a couple of things going on. It used to be that Craft Beer Blab was part of my other online identity, Anello Grande. And what I'm trying to do for this year is to separate out Craft Beer Blab and craft beer related content on one side, and then cycling and other related content on the other side. And so Anello Grande is focused more on cycling, mountain biking, all that type of stuff, as well as, you know, some other life stuff. Whereas Craft Beer Blab is pretty much focused on craft beer specifically. Now, we will try to cross promote through both channels, but that's where, so what I'm trying to say is go ahead and follow Craft Beer Blab if you're not already doing so on Twitter, on Instagram, here on YouTube, as well as go to the Craft Beer Blab blogspot.com for the blog. In fact, let me show you that website here. Do another screen share. Here we go. So this is what's live on the website right now. Reposts of the newsletter. Also on the website, you can go ahead and subscribe to the mailing list. That way you'll get notified when I do, because I don't have a schedule of when we're going to go live with webcasts, as well as not sure what other reviews and stuff. So I will try to let people know through the newsletter as well as on the blog. And if you do find the content on either the blog or the webcast to your liking, don't forget to click on any ads. I hate saying that, but if there's money to be made on this, it will come through the advertisements, which are in some of the posts, as well as on the side channel. A small little bit of commission off of these could go a long way to keeping this show alive. It does take a lot of effort to put this together, as well as to post a lot of the content that's out there. So I do appreciate that. It is very much appreciated, and I just want to thank you for anyone that does that. We'll go ahead and stop the screen share again. So what else is going on? So I wanted to talk about Hopslam. Now, Hopslam is a yearly release. Comes out every year. It, you know, it's a limited time. If you miss out, then you don't get it. I think I haven't missed out on Hopslam, although I have missed out on other beers in the past that I wanted to try out, and I miss it. It's just the name of the game when it comes to limited release or whales. Whales are, they're those beers that you try to find, you hunt them down. It's kind of like, going after the great big whale and saying, okay, this is what I'm focused on, this is what I'm going to get. And sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes that's Surly Darkness or Three Floyd's Dark Lord. Toppling Goliath just had a release, and I can't think of the name right now, but it was another whale. It was kind of on my radar of one that I wanted to try, but I did miss out because I didn't realize it was being released on a certain day, and all of a sudden there it was, and I wasn't able to take the time off and go drive down to Decorah to grab it. So I will have to watch out next year for that. But, so talking about whales and limited releases, there's kind of two schools of thought, I guess you could say. Some people think they're great. There's the thrill of the hunt. There is the trying to keep track of when these beers are coming available and when they'll be released. And, sometimes they don't know, like Surly's Anniversary, and I believe even their Darkness. Well, no, they have Darkness days every year at the same time. But their anniversary ales, they could release them in February. They could release them in October. They say when the beer is ready, then they'll release it. And so if you're looking for, Surly's Anniversary ales, and you want to keep it so that you're building your vertical. Vertical is where you have the beers of every year, at least for a couple of years. And so it goes vertically, let's say 2017, 2016, 2015. That would be a 3 vertical of their anniversary ale. And the reason why people do that sometimes is that they go ahead and they'll have a tasting party where you can taste a vertical of beer and kind of compare them from year to year, see what the difference is. Now, Surly's Anniversary ales, it's very easy to see because they don't keep the same style of beer for their anniversary ales. Now, on the other hand, some people do not like limited release and or whales. And I can understand this too. One of the reasons is that it kind of takes away from the commonality of beer, right? So you have, well, let's say you have Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Pretty much anyone can get it. It's a good, solid beer. You can drink it anytime. You can enjoy it. People can review it, and different people have different tastes and different taste buds. And so, one person may taste this, one person may taste that. But it's a common enough beer, and it can bring people together. You can buy a case of it and share it with your friends. And it's not this exclusive, snobby thing, right? Whereas opposed to a very limited release beer, let's say Surly Darkness, where you're limited, if you go to the brewery on Darkness days, I think you're limited to 6 bottles, which is actually quite a lot. But, it's expensive. I think it's like $25 a bottle. So, there's people that spend $150 on 6 of them. So there's that exclusivity. It's kind of, okay, well, I'm in the club. I got my Surly Darkness. Then when you go to share it, you're not going to share a $25 bottle of beer with anyone, right? You're going to pick your friends. You're going to have a special little Surly Darkness party, or you're going to drink it yourself. That's fine too. But it is very exclusive. It's like, he has Darkness. He has Darkness from 2007. Wow, look at that. He has the first bottle of Darkness that they sent out. And so it kind of creates more of this snobbiness that, you know, craft beer people already kind of have this predisposition to, right? We come across as snobs because we kind of are, you know, we're kind of looking down our noses on big beer, on cheap beer. We're saying, oh, you know, and even Hopslam, it's like, oh, well, you know what? I'm spending, I don't know, $20 on a 6-pack of beer instead of, you know, $20 on a case of beer. In fact, last year when I went and I picked up a 6-pack at the local store, I went to pay for it. And the clerk rang it up, and he looked at me, and he could see it was a 6-pack of beer. And he's like, "Wow, I could buy a case of beer for that much." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's not Hopslam." But you know, obviously, I'm not trying to be snobby when I do that, but there is that that perception, you know. So I'm not sure where I really fall as far as personally. I do like the hunt of certain beers. You know, there was waiting for my local beer store to get Hopslam in stock so that I could pick it up and get it and taste it. On the other hand, I could have very well spent my money on other beers. I mean, at $20, I could have bought at least a couple of 6-packs, maybe 3 6-packs of another beer, and probably had just as much enjoyment from the beer itself. So, and again, I'm not trying to sway anyone either this way or that. I'm just saying that there are some people that really enjoy the hunt for these whales, and then there's other people that are actually put off by it and say that it kind of leads to that superiority elitism that beer snobs kind of get. I'm not sure what you guys think. Please leave a comment on what you guys think below. I do appreciate that. And with that, we have been on for about half an hour here. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, if you liked this review, please go ahead and give a thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I do appreciate it very much. Also, go to craftbeerblab.blogspot.com to keep up with the latest happenings. Join the newsletter. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, as well as check out my buddy Jonah Di Pasquale. He has some great stuff going on. I know that he does some live streaming. He does a lot of bike stuff, as well as check out my alter ego, Anello Grande, where I do have a lot of bicycling related stuff, both on Instagram, Twitter, and Blogspot. Also, probably some YouTube content there too. Again, I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Give a thumbs up. And until next time, cheers. Enjoy. Keep the rubber side down and stay safe, y'all.